Well, I finally get around to recording this video, even though I wrote the blurb a few days ago, the title of which is U.S. Election, Trick or Treat. And this will be the video for the date Halloween, which is, of course, October 31st. Many of my friends are in the Trump camp, although I still have some diehard Democrats who lost their ability to think rationally and still plan to vote for Hillary. Frankly, I don't trust either candidate unless the Republic is restored. I don't care what Franco Collins says in regard to the Republic, that it's fraud. And then I put the link to Franco Collins. To me, it is the only way we can restore the United States to the intention of the forefathers. I do admit, however, that Trump is an iconoclast. That makes him likable despite his extremes. If Hillary's goons steal the election, America and the world are doomed. All hell will break loose. There will be plenty of tricks, but no treats. It's interesting, as I look back at Franco Collins thing, I couldn't find it at first because it was on my newer computer, which is in the shop, and I only have this old computer to work with right now, but I finally was able to recover the link to Franco Collins thing. And again, he is operating under the premise that everything that happened, even in the restoration of the Republic by our forefathers in the United States, that was all still the slavery system. And he may have a point that there still existed a slavery mentality among the forefathers. Obviously, some of them owned slaves and didn't think anything wrong with having slaves, including Thomas Jefferson, who I consider one of the foremost heroes of that movement in the, the 17th, 18th century, I guess. Yeah, 18th century. Anyway, lots of my friends are in the Trump camp and suggesting that I should vote for Trump. The truth of the matter is I haven't voted in the last 3 or 4 presidential. Well, the last election that I actually voted for, I voted for Ron Paul, and I still have at least one of his bumper stickers on the back of my car. But of course, that never happened. But no attorney can be president. No attorney can be in any political leadership position as long as they have an oath to the Bar Association, the British Accredited Registry. That disqualifies them, according to the original 13th Amendment, that disqualifies them from holding public office, period. Now, can we build a system that works to transition us from the slavery system that we've known? And I agree with Franco Collins that what we've known is a slavery system. And of course it existed in the United States at the time that our forefathers had this vision of a democracy, or not a democracy, but of a republic, a democratic republic that gave people or recognized people's rights. They didn't give us our rights. We have natural rights. They are ours. We have the right to make our own choices so long as they don't violate the rights of others. That's the catch-22 that disqualifies almost everything that happens in our world, because people that rise to positions of power tend to abuse the rights of others. And somehow, some way, we have to be able to get beyond that and recognize that we are all interconnected into a single web of life. And that web of life extends not just to other beings and other creatures on this planet, but it extends throughout the universe to life everywhere. we are all interconnected to whatever the creator is, whether you want to call that God or whatever you want to call it. We are all interconnected with that. And it's the insanity of believing that we are not connected to that that leads to all the violence, that leads to all the criminality, that leads to all the blatant theft of rights and property, and just creates a world that's totally havoc. It's totally insane. That's the world we live in. And what I have envisioned for such a long time is a world that will actually transform us and transform our experience as living beings, not as slaves, but as free thinkers, free doers, and free people of truth and of love. Because only truth can liberate us. Only love can allow us to build bridges instead of continuing the insanity of building walls to separate. We build bridges to link us to one another, bridges that that span religious differences, political ideologies, and all sorts of other things. Again, there's only one foundational point that this can work with, and that is that we have to see ourselves and each other as having the ability to choose freely, without recrimination, without being put down, without being bastardized in any way. That we all, regardless of race, religion, the cultural differences, whatever, any of the differences we all have the right to be ourselves and to learn our own lessons. And the lesson that we have the most trouble learning is not to interfere in the lives of others and try to impose our will on them. That is the insanity that we have to deal with. And unless we deal with it, no election is going to mean anything. It's going to be another trick. And we're not going to be able to be treated to the liberation, to the freedom that we long for in the deepest part of our being, and that we must be able to co-create. And we need all of the divine help, extraterrestrial help, whatever you want to call it. We need all the help we can to overcome the bulwark of lies and the system that has been created based on those lies. We have to be able to overcome that system. And I would love nothing better than to live to be a part of that. I'd love nothing better than to be able to go into these chambers that I read about that fix the things that are wrong with us. I'd like to have my feet restored so that I don't have numbness of my feet and I can actually run again. And I don't have to be so cautious and so concerned with every step that I take that I not fall. I mean, there's been times that I've not fallen, but I've almost, well, I think I did fall one time now that I'm thinking about it. But generally speaking, I catch my balance and I don't fall. But it's a handicap, and I still have things going on in my body that indicate that there's a problem. And I'd like to be healed. I'd like to be well and whole again. And I think that's what we all deserve, to be well and whole and have a sound mind and a sound body, and to be able to live our lives as creations of a loving God, a loving creator, not one who wants to dominate and control. It's not about that God just anything goes, because an anything goes God is a God who allows evil to rule over good for extreme periods of time, with no respite, with no genuine remedy that liberates. And I'm into liberation theology, into liberation politics, into liberation life. that we can live as free people. What a concept, where we are given the responsibility to love one another. And it's a responsibility. It's how we respond to others. It's an ability to respond lovingly instead of trying to control. Is that too hard to understand? That's what I'm trying to get across. That's what I've been trying to put forward into our thinking. And somehow, something has to lift us to the ability where those of us with a positive vision are actually more powerful than those that have the negative vision. And hopefully Donald Trump will bring good if it ends up that he is the elected president. Whatever, we need positive change is what I'm saying. We need to be treated with something that we have not experienced in our lifetime. Thank you for listening, and namaste.